Hi everyone, it's Marisa Williams. Today we're going to talk about fractions, decimals, and percentages. So starting with a big scary number like this, 26 over 52. Some people see this, they freak out, they cry, it's double digits, it's more than 10. Oh my gosh, what do we do? Well, find a number that can go into both those. Let's see. What if we divided it by 2? They're both even numbers, right? So let's just start something simple like that. How many times can 2 go into 26? 13. How many times can 2 go into 52? 26 times. And now we ask ourselves, can this number get reduced again? Is there a number that will go into both of these numbers? Well, what's 13 plus 13? 26, huh? So that means we can divide them both by 13. In this case, 13 goes into 13 one time. 13 goes into 26 two times. So our real answer is 1/2. Now, we can do this a couple different ways. That's the cool thing about math. There's a few different ways to get the same answer. So even though I started simplifying by 2 and then 13, well, what happens if I say 2 times 13? Well, that's 26 again, right? So could I have divided them both by 26? Yeah, let's try it. So if I say 26 divided by 26, that's one time. 52 divided by 26 goes in twice, right? So it's still same as the before. It still comes up with 1/2 no matter how you slice it or dice it, right? Now, 1/2, how do I turn a fraction into a decimal? If you have a calculator, it's very easy. You're going to take your top number divided by bottom number, hit your equal sign on the calculator. What you should come up with is 0.5. Now, let's talk about percentages for a minute. If I have 0.5 or half, if I have half, I'm going to move that decimal 2 times, right? 1, 2. So I got to add a 0. So that 0.5 turns into 50%, right? Now, percent, think of it like cents, like dollars, right? Half of a dollar is 50 cents. So 50%, right? Good way to think of it. Money we talk about more than fractions. We like money a lot more than fractions, so sometimes it's easier to think of like money. All right, let's look at another one. If we have 5 over 20, what number goes into both of them? Well, 5, right? We're going to divide by 5 on both of these. Whatever I do to the bottom, I have to do to the top. I can't do different numbers on the bottom and the top. It has to be the same, okay? So 5 goes into 5 one time, and it goes into 24 times. And again, if I was thinking, what's 1/4 of a dollar? How many times can 4 go into 100? I'd say that's 25 times. In other words, 1/4 is the same as 25 cents, 0.25. Now, if I move that decimal 2 places, that would be 25%. And again, a quarter is 25 cents. Think of it like that, right? All right, let's try another one. Got another big number for you, 9 over 27. Oh my gosh, how can we do this? Well, we could divide by 3, because I know 3 goes into 9 3 times, and 3 goes into 27 9 times. And then if I'm left with 3 over 9, I can divide that again by 3, and say if 3 goes into 3 one time, 3 goes into 9 3 times, that turns into 1/3. If I say 1 divided sign, 3 equal sign in my calculator, I will come up with 0.333333333. That little line over the last 3 means that it's repeating. And again, if I'm going to change my decimal into a percentage, I'm going to move it 2 places. So it's 33.33333 as many times as you want. It's going to go on forever. So I'm just going to say 33.3%. Okay. And again, little note I have here. Think of it like money again, okay? So if I have 3 cents, I'm going to write as 0.03. If I have 30 cents, it's going to be 0.30, right? Very common mistake when it comes to decimals. It looks like I have my audience here with me, since I don't have y'all in class. We've got my kittens as the audience here. All right, so let's look at this a different way, right? So again, instead of dividing by 3 and dividing by 3 again, 3 times 3 is 9. What if I just divided by 9? I would say 9 goes into 9 one time. 27 divided by 9 is 3. Again, I'm still getting that same answer of 1/3. And again, if I put it in the calculator, 1 divided by 3, I get that 0.333 repeating, which is the same as 33.3%. All right, let's kick it up a notch. 8 and 64. What number goes into that? 8 can go into both of those because 8 times 8 is 64. So I'm going to divide by the same number. Whatever I do the bottom, I got to do the top, right? So 8 divided by 8 one time. 8 goes into 64 8 times. Now, if I say top number, divided sign, bottom number, 1 divided by 8 equals, on my calculator, I would come up with 0.125, 0.125. And again, if I want to turn that into a percentage, I'm going to move this 2 spots. So in other words, it's going to look like 12.5% or 12.5%, right? All right, let's go on to another example up here. Same thing, we got 3 and 48. In this case, I know that 3 goes into both of them. Again, whatever I do to the bottom, I have to do the top. That's how I simplify, right? I just divide the top and the bottom by the same number. In this case, it's a 3. So 3 goes into 3 one time. 3 goes into 48 16 times. Big number, right? But 1/16 is something we use in architecture, construction, electrical trades. So it's good to know our 16ths, right? So our decimal equivalent, if I said 1 divided sign 16 equal sign into my calculator, that decimal equivalent would be 0.0625. Now, I'm going to move that decimal 2 spots, 1, 2. So if I'm going to turn it into a percent, it's going to be 6.25%. Notice I don't need this 0 in front of the 6. It can go away because it was just holding the place here. But now that the 6 is in front of the decimal, I don't need this place held, so it just goes away. Okay? So let's look at another example. We got 7 over 42. 7 and 42 both divisible by 7, so I'm going to divide the top and the bottom by 7. 7 goes into 7 one time. 7 goes into 42 6 times, so it turns it into 1/6. Again, I'm going to take my calculator, top number, divided sign, bottom number, equal sign, and what I'll get is 0.1666666 repeating. You might see a 7 at the end where they rounded up. And again, you can turn that into as many placeholders as you want because those 6s will go on forever. In this case, I just put a couple in there, a few, and instead we're going to move that decimal so it's 16.667, or again, you can have as many 6s as you want and then just round it up to a 7 at the end for as many places as you need because that's repeating 6. Again, that's what that line over the 6 means there, is that they repeat basically to infinity. All right. Next example, 24 over 32. Well, both are divisible by 4. Again, whatever I divide to the top, I got to do the bottom. In this case, I get a 6 and an 8. And I'm thinking to myself, those are both even numbers. I can go down a little further and I can divide them both by 2, right? So that gives me up to 3/4. Now I got a little note here and it says if I have 3/4, I have 75 cents, right? 3 divided by 4 in our calculator gives us 0.75. And if I have 75 cents, I'm going to move that decimal 2 places to make it 75% if I want to use it as a percentage, right? All right, going down to the next example, 24 over 36. Still divisible by 4. In this case, we get 6 over 9 now. But now we can't divide by 2 because 9 is not an even number, but we can divide by 3. So whatever we do to the bottom, we do to the top. That gives an answer of 2 over 3, 2/3. We put that in the calculator. 2 divided by 3 equal sign gives us 0.6667. And again, those will be a repeating number. And I can round that to a percentage by moving that decimal just 2 places, 1, 2. And that turns it into 66.67. Again, since that's a repeating 6, you can have as many 6s as you need for placeholders. But if you want to round it up, because that 6 is more than 5, you round it up to a 7 where you want to end it, right? If it's less than 5, you're going to keep it the same number. such as those repeating 3s that we saw earlier. All right, another big one, 25 over 125. This freaks some people out, okay? Don't let it do that. Anything that ends in a 5 or a 0 is always going to be divisible by 5. So let's start with just the basics. Let's divide by 5. If we don't know anything else to divide by, we can divide by that, right? So 5 goes into 5 times. 5 goes into 125 25 times. And now I'm like, wait, I still have numbers that ends in 5. I can divide by 5 again, right? If I do that, it brings me to 1/5. And again, instead of saying divide by 5 and divide by 5 again, could I have just divided by 25? Because 5 times 5 gives me 25? Sure. And if I did that, 25 goes into 25 one time, 25 goes into 125 5 times. Again, if you think of it like money, if I have $1.25, how many quarters do I need to get that? 5 quarters, right? Think of it like that. And again, if I put that into the calculator, 1 divided sign 5 equals 0.2. Now remember, for percentages, I got to move these 2 spots, so it's going to be 20%, not 2%, 20%, because I got to move it 2 spots. If there's no 0, I'm going to add that 0 because I got to get that second placeholder in there to turn it into a percentage, right? I have a little note here. It says, how many times can a nickel go into a dollar? 20 times. So again, think of it like that. And by money, I'm thinking this bottom number, the 5, how many times can it go into 100? In this case, 20 times, right? So it's a little way to think of it, and hopefully this helps. And let me know if you have any questions by commenting below. Have a beautiful rest of the day, y'all.